My name is Max Young. I'm a Camunda Champion, a certified Camunda Architect, and a principal with Capital BPM, which is a certified Camunda Platinum partner and the Partner of the Year for 2024 on the American continent. So I want to talk about migration today. Specifically, what I mean by migration is moving from a 1 BPM engine over to Camunda. And even more specifically, I mean migrating from Camunda 7 over to Camunda 8. So when you do this sort of thing, you have a lot of things to consider. You have to think about the fact that you have to probably transition your delegates and your listeners over from the old model over to job workers and connectors. You have to think about the fact that listeners work differently in Camunda 8. As of 8.6 alpha right now, there are listeners that previously weren't. And moreover, you don't have task listeners, though the entire approach really pushes you to adopt Zeebe and Elasticsearch in the sense of actually capturing your events. You have to think about the fact that you probably have JavaScript and Groovy and other kinds of scripting within your processes. And then you have to translate those over to corresponding field expressions and or custom job workers. Then you have to think about the fact that you want to take all of this, you want to be able to test it, you want to make sure that you have fidelity between the old version and the new version. You want to make sure that your UIs and your task lists work consistently. You want to make sure that you have confidence that corner cases will be handled in a way that's consistent with what your users are expecting. And after you've done all of that, then you've got to make sure that you're being really, really careful about how you actually do your migration. So let's say you get everything migrated, your C8 is validated, it's gone through UAT, it works. How do you actually go through transitioning people over from using the old system to the new system? Typically, the approach that I recommend is to do a blue-green sort of an approach. And what I mean by that is if you think of your C7 as being the blue environment, and there are probably instances in flight, for example, let's say you're a bank, you have people that are actively processing loan applications, that sort of a thing. And then you think about your green environment, which is the new green field where you have your C8 implementation. The way that I typically recommend people approach this is that you set up a load balancer between these two systems, and the load balancer routes existing calls to your C7 server, letting it still run active, but finish out and drain out what it's already done. And then it routes new calls, maybe because they have a certain flag in the token that indicates that they're new, that the old ones wouldn't have. And any new applications, any new processes, any new instances actually get created on the new system. So what you're doing here is you're kind of running both systems in parallel at the same time, and then you're gradually letting the C7 ones drain out. Now, once you've done all this, you want to make sure that you also have fidelity and true up in terms of how you're capturing metrics. So for example, let's say that you had listeners in your C7 implementation, and that C7 implementation was putting information into your BI engine or into a database backend to keep track of your heuristics. Great idea. Fantastic. You want to make sure that your C8 is doing at least the same thing. So it's reporting from Elasticsearch, from whatever other system you've got, in a way that's consistent, because that way you won't get a break in your history. You won't have auditors at some point, or governmental agencies, or compliance engines that will come in and go, wait a minute, you were measuring X, Y, and Z over there, and now you're measuring A, B, and C. You want to make sure that you've thought through the entire process. If you want to transition, which I think you do, because I think C8 objectively is a more powerful product and scales better. So if you've decided that you do want to transition from C7 to C8, and you've done the cost analysis and you think it makes sense for you, regardless of whether you do it by yourself or you get a partner like us, these are the problems you're going to have to solve. I should also say, I'd be remiss if I didn't, Cap BPM actually does offer a fixed cost, fixed risk migration effort. So what that means is, as a company, we have an offering out there that says, we promise, we guarantee that we will take your C7 and fully migrate it over to your C8. And if we don't, you don't have to pay us. Either way, the problems that you have to solve, so making sure that you have consistency and fidelity between the old system and the new system, that you have a plan for active migration, that you have a way to true up all the information that is going into your backend BI systems, and that you are thinking consistently about how you're going to do maintenance on all this. Those problems have to be solved. You don't have to do it with us. You don't have to do it with any other partner, but you do have to solve those problems if you want to go from here to there. Okay, hope this has been helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments. Thank you.